just want to get on here real quick, say hello to everybody. Here, let me turn you around so you can see what I'm looking at. So yeah, I just want to get on here. That's the lake out there. I've gotten quite a bit of new subscribers this week, so I just want to jump on real quick, introduce myself, say hello to everybody, welcome you to my home. This is where I live. This is my home. Well, wait a minute, hold up. If you don't know me, that probably don't make no sense. I do not own this land. This is public. It's government land, but it's open to the public. It's national. Well, actually, it's a state forest. I keep saying national. It's a state forest. But anyway, I just want to very quickly introduce myself. I travel around, and sometimes I stay in one spot, but I live in a van. Oh yeah, I forgot y'all don't know my name. My name's Wayne. For several years now, I can't remember, 9 years, I think I'm starting my 10th year, I can't even remember, but I've been traveling full time, living in a van, sometimes a RV or a camper, sometimes I live off my motorcycle. But anyway, I woke up one day and decided, there's got to be more to life than what I was doing. I got a crow upset. Just getting up before the sunrise and going to work and grinding all day, and coming home tired when the sun goes down, and doing your chores you got to do around the house, mow your yard, do maintenance on your home, and wave at your neighbor, and maybe watch a few minutes of TV, and then jump into bed so you can get up and do it all again the next day. I did that for years. Just like you did, or are doing, or whatever. And I just got tired of it. I just decided one day there's got to be more to life in this. There's got to be. Now, this is before I knew anything about camper vans or nomadic life or all that, because it wasn't very popular back then. There was only a handful of people doing it. Don't get me wrong. I know people's been living in vans since the 60s and 70s. Hippies been doing it forever, but I'm talking about this before YouTube, and it was the cool thing to do. So I started doing research on a more simpler way of life. Trying to figure out a way to get out of the rat race, quit chasing that dollar, but yet still live a comfortable life. So I started doing research, and I ran across, I think, the very first person I seen on YouTube that was doing it, I'm not saying the first person to do it, but the first one that I seen was Adventure Van Man Brian. But he was just starting himself. He hadn't even started traveling yet. He was still staying in the city, working a 9-to-5 job, but he had just moved in his van. And that caught my interest. Simply because if you're not rich in life, you got to work. There's just no way around it. You got to have money to survive. But I was looking for a way to not have to work day in, day out, grind, works, overtime on Saturdays, and just so you can pay your bills and be broke on Monday. There had to be a better way. So I started doing research, ran across him, started watching him. Of course, I've always been pretty resourceful myself as far as figuring out ways to make it. Hard times, get out on your luck. I've been able to make it. So between him and my own perseverance, I moved into a van. Now, a little backstory for you. For some people, that would be a culture shock, going from a big house or whatever, apartment, and then jumping into a van. That would just turn somebody's world upside down. But I drove a truck for a living, so I lived in a vehicle pretty much my whole life. I've always been an outdoors person. Love being in the woods, love camping, love nature. So, I just went into this with, I just noticed something. This is December, no leaves on a tree, it's freezing cold. This tree beside me still has green leaves on it. That's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, I had no trouble transitioning over to this life. And it started out living in the van full time. I didn't test the waters. I didn't take weekend trips. I just jumped in there and did it. And I kept working at 9 to 5. Now, I made kind of the same mistake everybody does. I loaded that old van down with everything I could possibly cram in there. I had microwave, TV, I tried to take my house and put it in the van. It didn't take me very long to realize that's not going to work. And that was just making me, miserable and uncomfortable. Having to deal with all that junk all the time. So I whittled her down to the bare necessities. I figured out what I decided I needed to be comfortable. A good comfortable bed, a way to cook, a way to take a shower. And that's what I did. I whittled my life down to the bare necessities. And then I was still working full-time 9 to 5, and I noticed, again, I'm not rich, so don't think I'm sitting here with $3 million in the bank and just, doing this for fun. I lived week to week like everybody else, trying to keep my bills paid. But when I moved in that van, I noticed, hey, I went from spending my whole check on trying to survive to down to like a quarter of my check. I was actually starting to save money. Didn't have all them bills, all expenses. Just had the basic necessities: insurance, phone, gas, groceries. And I did that for a while, and I got to thinking. And the whole point of all this was trying to find a way to live life to the fullest, enjoy life more. We wouldn't put on this earth to just go to work and die. I don't believe that. So when I got to noticing how cheap it was to live, well, the old lazy bones in me decided, hey, I don't have to work so much. So I don't remember exactly what I did. We're talking years ago. But I went from working, 45, 50, 55 hours a week down to just part-time, whatever I could get away with. I think the last steady job I had, I think I was working like 32 hours. And that was just because that's what, in order to keep me employed, I had to be full-time, and 32 hours is considered full-time. So I did that for a little while. And then, I don't remember, maybe the following year or something, I don't remember exactly. I decided, hey, I only need a small amount of money to get by each week and each month. I don't even have to work 32 hours. So I started looking into this seasonal job stuff. Now you gotta remember, when I started doing the band thing, it wasn't a cool thing to do. Everybody wasn't doing it. Just a small few. And I think Scotty, Static Camper Van, and Brian, Adventure Van Man, a few others, I can't remember exactly. Anyway, just a few people was doing this. That's my van right over there. That's where I live. That's where I'm living this week. But yeah, I started looking into the seasonal job thing. I found a few, applied for a couple, and got approved. So one day I got up to go to work, and while at work, something just clicked in my head. I said, today's the day. Now, let me point out, the job I had at the time, I enjoyed the nature of the job, but I did not enjoy the place I was working at. It was horrible, toxic workplace. The management was awful. Now, some of my coworkers was pretty good fellas. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the higher ups. It's one of them jobs you just hate to even get up and go. You just dread even going. So that day, I don't know what did it. I can't remember. Somebody said something or something happened or what. I don't remember, but I said, today's it. This is the last day you're going to see me, old buddy. I think at lunchtime it was. Yeah, it was lunchtime. I went into the manager's office, little supervisor office, and said, oh buddy, this is it for me. It's been real and it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. And of course, you know, they blew up. Rah, 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 rah. They told me to go ahead and leave. So I said, hey, I ain't got no problem with that. I packed my stuff, threw it in the van, and left. Actually, I came back out here to these woods where I'm at right now. I'm kind of at my home base, the area I'm from, and where I've pretty much spent most of my life. Does that tell you where I'm at right there? But I came back to these woods. Now I wasn't worried or scared, or by this time I done saved a little money. And I already had everything paid off, you know, past bills and stuff. Done secured me a seasonal job for later on in the year. But what, you know, so I wasn't super worried about anything. Wow, this video's getting long. I said I was going to make it quick, and I didn't. But anyway, I came back to these woods, and I was kind of second-guessing my decision because, like I said, it wasn't because of financial reasons or nothing like that. It's just I never went a day without working my whole life. I've been working since I was a little kid. Always had a goal in life of having something, you know, a little money, a few toys, and I did. I accomplished all that. But the point is, I've gone my whole life, and I've worked every day. I've never missed a day, never took vacations, never did nothing. So it was kind of a shock to me to quit that job like that. I've never done that before. Never even considered doing that. So I sat in these woods a few days, wrestled around with that in my head. You know, what have I done? You know, I've just ruined my name. I'll never get another job again. And it didn't take me long to get over that. So I've been pretty much bumming around ever since. I'm trying to make this short. This video's getting super long, so I need to paraphrase. And this isn't the one van I started in, but I started in a big blue van, the same brand, same model and everything. It was just blue. Some of y'all have been with me a long time. You remember the big blue van. And I've tried different rigs throughout my journeys. A couple travel trailers, a step van, a big RV. Did the motorcycle thing. You know, I've tried other stuff. But the van suits me well. It's comfortable. Now, granted, it's not perfect. I'm not trying to say this is paradise 100% perfect, because it's not. I can sit here and name a whole list of things that sucks about it. But the reason I always go back to a van, because it allows me to do pretty much everything that I enjoy doing. Like coming here in these woods. I'm able to go places way off beaten path that normally you couldn't go with a big RV or something. And that's the reason I always end up going back to a van. But anywho, my real quick has turned into real long, so I want to say hello real quick, introduce myself. If you stick with this channel, you'll understand that I'm long-winded, I ramble a lot, I get distracted easy. And half the time you don't even know what I'm talking about. So anywho, I just want to say I appreciate you joining us. And this is not no Hollywood channel. We don't go to Disneyland and Mount Rushmore every single day. We don't do that. Most of the time you're going to see us right out here looking at old graveyards or looking for old homesteads, or we're just sitting around getting fat. That's what we do. But I appreciate you coming here and visiting. If it's not for you and you decide to leave, I ain't got no problem with that. I appreciate you just stopping by. But anywho, I'm going to get off here because my real quick has turned into real long. I try to post every Friday. Doesn't always happen, but I try to. And I think that's about it. So anyway, to see you guys next time. God bless you.